Hey guys, if you're looking for part 1, make sure you click the link in the description and watch that first. Otherwise, you're in the right place. Enjoy the show.
We kick things off with the zenith of animation. A still shot of May in the middle of a class as she is told do not exist. Fantastic.
You know, I wonder how May got chosen in the first place. Did everyone just look at her and go, hey, look at the freak! Let's ignore the freak! I mean, how else do you end up picking the pale, quiet, shy, odd girl with the eye patch?
No idea.
Anyway, time for more acknowledging of people who don't exist because this plan is so very serious.
At the opening ceremony, we had the perfect number of desks.
I know that, but we were short a desk once the new student came.
By the way, you checked him out, right? How'd it go?
I honestly don't think it's him. He never lived in Yomiyama. He has no siblings.
So, how is this plan supposed to actually work at all? You're actively talking about Koichi. You even called him he. What, does this not count? So just to be clear, thinking about the person, looking at them, and even openly talking about them in the third person doesn't count as acknowledging their existence? Fucking how?
Unshan. Yeah, that sounds good. Reshun.
Oh, right. How could I forget?
Well, the problem is you had already spoken to me. That made it difficult for them to broach the subject with you.
Right, because it's not like they could have said, don't talk to her anymore. You know, her. You know who we mean, right? I.e., the exact conversation they were having when they decided to ignore Koichi. If they can refer to Koichi as the new student and he, how hard could this possibly have been? Oh, right. Not hard at all, and this is only in the anime and not the novel. This sounds really stupid.
Why did they decide to make two people non-existent?
Well, because they probably thought the charm wouldn't hold if they told you to start ignoring me now.
Okay, hang on a minute. Let me get this straight. They couldn't tell Koichi to start ignoring Mei because he had already acknowledged her. But now they can totally start ignoring Koichi even though they've already acknowledged him? In what world does this possibly make sense?
Eye patch fetish!
No.
Well then, I got no- Wait a minute. Why are you trying to make me defend this? I hate this shit!
In addition to this, Koichi is still acknowledging Mei, and he is still a member of the class.
It's quite logical, actually.
No, it isn't. There is one dead person in class. You could ignore 2, 5, 10, 20 people if you really wanted to. But when they're still talking and acting like a part of the class, you fucked up.
When they consider that they might be next, it makes them take things seriously.
No. When people fear for their lives, it makes them react impulsively out of desperation. Fear prevents logical, cool-headed analysis by definition. Nothing you are saying is correct.
Anyway, May pointlessly philosophize about how we're all truly alone, or whatever Linkin Park song you subscribe to, before Koichi gets another call from his dad, another bit of foreshadowing.
How does it feel to be
back after, A year and a half? This was my first time coming here since I started junior high.
Yeah, you're right. My mistake. Hey, you're breaking up. Can you still hear me?
Yep, right in front of the MRI. Man, India is so hot. What? No, it's not dangerous. I did nothing wrong. We cut to a stupid Koichi daydream, followed by a shot of people staring at him. Yup, no acknowledgement here. He totally doesn't exist. We follow this up with a seemingly pointless conversation that actually does, for once, help the show's atmosphere.
I was an officer in the cooking club at my old school.
Then will you make me something to eat someday?
Sure, someday. Weren't you drawing up here before? Did you decide to give her wings?
I did. I'll show you. Someday.
You should visit me in Tokyo someday. We can go to museums there. I'll be your tour guide.
Sure. Someday.
There's an innate sense of dread in this seemingly happy scene. Koichi and Mei are trying to remain positive, but it's all for someday, this future they hope to get to. For a few minutes, you actually feel the weight of this curse and how it affects these two along with everyone else.
Misaki, hey! What are you doing here? I just felt like dropping in. Hi, Mochizuki.
Hey, guys, do you think you could all come with me for a second? There's something we've got to do right away.
Well, that didn't last long. What? Now no one is allowed to acknowledge them because you can't? You selfish prick. None of them are in class 3. What is your problem?
You're not going to get in trouble with the class if you don't ignore us, are you?
I have no connections to your class at this time. I'm in a safe position, you might say.
Exactly. Piss off, you stupid fop. Go back to plagiarizing to Scream or whatever it is you do.
The students of Class 3 and their families within 2 degrees of separation, and they must live in Yomiyama.
2 degrees would mean parents, grandparents, and siblings. Why do you stay here then?
I don't know. Why haven't you left yet? Why doesn't anyone know about this curse so that every student assigned to Class 3 can just temporarily relocate to a different school and leave town? Why are all you this stupid?
Was the Misaki who died 26 years ago a boy or a girl?
A boy. His surname was Yomiyama.
Again, how the hell do you get this wrong? This would be like if somewhere down the line, people started confusing Aragorn with Aragon and started talking about how the Dragon King of Middle-earth rose up to reclaim his mountain full of gold. What the actual hell?
Anyway, Chibiki gives them a massive book of every class roster from past years, where the names of the deceased students each year are kept. He then goes on to say that everybody forgets about the dead student after the curse comes to an end. How is this possible when you have a detailed ledger of every deceased student after the fact? These are more questions that my depressed mind will have no idea how to answer.
He goes on to say that he has no idea if ignoring both of them will work when ignoring one student only works half the time. Well, good. More reinforcement that this very well could be a completely pointless effort.
I think the calamity was stopped that year, but I'm not sure about it.
How was it stopped? Please, Reiko!
I can't remember.
Okay, no. This scene really pisses me off, but to explain why I'd have to basically spoil the entire show, so for now it'll have to wait. Just remember it. Okay?
Sure. Got it.
Good.
Wait, what are we talking about? Where am I?
I have done my utmost so that all of you could all graduate in good health next spring. I did everything I could to make that happen for all of you. I don't know if any amount of struggling will do any good for any of you at all. I don't know what to do. This is my only choice.
Oh, Another cliffhanger. So is he gonna kill them all then? I mean, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, me too.
That means it's not going to happen, doesn't it?
Did God banish me to hell for a reason?
Great. This is gonna get bad real fast, isn't it? Fuck this!
Wait, where are you going? Will, can I come too? Come on, I'm going.
This scene is stupid for multiple reasons. First off, what made his bags so... Yeah. Does he have a knife in there for every student? Or did he bring his weight set so he could get a couple reps in before killing himself? Why is the bag so stupid heavy?
Second, apparently this guy thought the best course of action to do, the best he could, was to come to school and splooge blood all over them. Right. This definitely makes sense and isn't just there for shock value.
Finally, what's the deal with him flailing around right before full insertion here? Is he being forced to kill himself by some supernatural entity? That's not very fair, is it? You're kind of breaking the rules of reality when you step down and force someone's hand instead of using those same rules so that the characters have a fighting chance. Why not just kill each and every one of them every time they get close to... Oh. Yeah. Right. Oh, but hey, random drama girl's traumatized for life now. That makes it all worth it, right?
And then, immediately after this graphic suicide, Akazawa doesn't have time to be traumatized because she's too busy glaring angrily at Mei and Koichi. Yeah, I'm sure that doesn't count as acknowledging them either. Of course.
Storytelling! Chibiki uses his psychic detective skills to inform Koichi and Mei that the death of the teacher's mother the day before drove him over the edge. Sure, that justifies cleaving yourself in twain all over a crowd of children. I can see it.
You know the whole story now, don't you? So you get where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I understand perfectly well.
What about you, Misaki? Feel like a weight's been lifted?
Well, it's about time. Maybe now you can actually save lives.
Wait a minute. Did he just call her Mizuki?
What about you, Misaki?
Misaki.
What about you, Misaki?
Misakira.
What about you, Misaki? Misaki, 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 Misaki.
What is it with Sentai? How is it possible to be so consistently terrible at line direction? Again, all you have to do is Google this shit. It's not that hard.
Speaking of inconsistencies, Akazawa consoles Koichi and Mei for the inevitable blaming that will most likely befall upon them, before immediately glaring them down in the next scene that same day.
She's a strong girl, a fact of which she is clearly aware. But considering what she's up against...
And considering what I'm up against. Advancing senility. Who are you again? Where am I?
I wanted to ask you about 15 years ago when the calamity stopped. Mid-year.
Oh, where's that book of recipes? You know, when I was a young man, I had my own potato farm.
Wait a minute. Does that mean all of the deaths stopped in August?
Damn kids, get off my lawn! Oh, my anal polyps could use some ointment.
Okay, seriously. The point of this scene is that there was a time before when the curse was stopped mid-year. But only the once. Apparently, the class went on a summer trip to the Yomiyama Shrine. But in the subsequent years, it didn't work.
Naturally, people went back to it in years when the calamity occurred. It was a fine idea, but fruitless. It could be that going there in a large group in early August might be effective.
Wait, no, that's a complete contradiction. If only I could remember what I had for breakfast.
This completely inconclusive conversation leads to Miss Mikami announcing that the students will be returning to the shrine. Sure. Following that, Koichi completes his transformation into Meatwad before realizing it was all a dream. Maybe he has paralyzing fear of spam meat or something.
Hello?
I swear, India just gets hotter and hotter.
Anyway, Koichi's dad mentions a creepy photo of the class from 26 years earlier that his mom was in. Well, that'll be a plot point. Because the crisis now facing the entire class has become extremely dire, and there is no plan to stop the mounting death toll, our terrified characters talk about coffee for several minutes.
Please enjoy.
I still get the feeling that we've met at some point. No, that I've shaken your hand somewhere before.
You think so?
At the very least, let it never be said that these writers don't know how to foreshadow. They drop subtle hints the whole way along at what's yet to come. At what, we don't know exactly, but you can tell something is just beyond the reach of our protagonists.
Tension, on the other hand.
We have a regular here. His name is Katsumi Matsunaga. I knew he went to Yomi North. Eventually, I worked up the courage to ask him if it had happened in his year.
The curse that year was not. It wasn't my fault. I knew I had to tell them, so that's why I left it there.
Hey, Koichi, don't you know someone who was in Matsunaga's class at school?
Well, I'm not sure what you mean quite yet.
Oh, it's coming. May gives Koichi her phone number, then wanders into a coffin for no reason, leaving us with this little cliffhanger.
It's not you. You are not the one who is dead.
Well, okay. How does she know he's not dead? What is the deal with her doll's eye? And what did she mean when she said she could see things that should remain unseen? I'm sure we'll get the answer to these questions and many more in the next episode, right?
Nope. Nuh-uh. No.
Of course not.
Yes!
Oh, we're doing this. No explanation, just fun time at the beach, I guess. Real cool.
I'm serious here. We cut from Koichi talking to Reiko about the year the curse was stopped to everybody going to the beach. That's it. We ended the episode with May mysteriously telling Koichi that he isn't the dead one, and now this. No ending to that scene, no explanation, nothing. Fuck you, it's filler time.
Why? Seriously, why? This book was over 600 pages long, and you couldn't find anything to work with? We had to go with Watermelon on the Beach. This is what we had to do? Are you serious?
Yeah. Yeah, give it a hate. You know you want to.
I mean, it's one really bad episode, but that doesn't ruin the entire series.
Oh, come on. It sucks. Just admit it. We're, what, 6, 7 episodes into this now, and it's terrible.
Fine!
Ugh.
It sucks, okay? They've screwed up the storytelling royally since the very beginning of the show all the way up until now. But this is the episode that the show is most heavily criticized for. So, you know what? We're not going to review it. Nope. Instead, I'm going to sum up everything that happens in less than 10 seconds and save you guys the 22 minutes. All right? Austin, time me.
All right, one sec. And go.
Boobs, 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 and boobs. Koichi runs into May and the group searches for sea life. Scraggle guy from the bar conveniently shows up as this red shirt who we've never met before, swims out to sea for no reason and dies. Scraggles mentions that he left something in the classroom, and we're out.
Time. Wow. Not bad. Not like the show deserves it, but not bad.
Well, that's 10 seconds longer than we should have spent on it in the first place.
Hey, it's better than the 22 minutes it actually took. This is what anime producers do. They make a completely pointless episode that's a complete waste of time, but then they throw in one critical plot point, no matter how forced, lazy, or stupid, so that you have no choice but to watch it. What a load.
Don't remind me. Let's just keep going. The next actual episode begins in familiar territory with Akazawa glaring at Mei because clearly this is all her fault. You know, I get the impression that Akazawa has a thing for Koichi from all the attention she's been giving him, but that's never said or really plays into anything, so this is just more blame game BS. Great.
I spoke with Mr. Oba this afternoon about what happened at the beach. He's a city police detective. The condition of his head when he died was inconsistent with the timing of his collision with the boat. According to Nakao's family, they heard some kind of loud noise from the stairway earlier that morning.
He must have hit his head then.
These young'uns today are such pussies. I fell down the stairs all the time when I was his age. By the time I was 16, I couldn't see purple anymore. That's why... do any of you remember how to spell vacuum?
So then, the event that led to his death took place in Yomiyama, didn't it?
When Nakao Yomiyama left with all of you that day, without having his head checked at the hospital, his death was assured.
What police officer gave you all the specific medical information and details of an open investigation? Is this just how the Japanese police operate?
Mr. Tomitake decided he was going to use all his strength to claw at his own throat. He kept on digging away at himself until he got to an artery. Tore through that as well.
Oh yeah. Right.
Koichi has another nightmare, except this one is completely pointless because Mei already told him that he's not the dead one, so we know for a fact that none of this is his fault. So, yeah. Moving on.
The classroom?
That's where he said it was, but I can't find it.
Oh, I get it. Then he must be talking about the Class 3 homeroom in the old school building. But I'll just...
Hold up. I don't want to tell anyone else about this right now. If Nakao hadn't gone to the beach, he probably wouldn't have died. So for now, keep this a secret.
Okay, so when should we go there?
We can't go right now?
I've already made plans with my family this evening.
What? What?
Multiple people have died. Multiple people are gonna die. A lot more people will die. And your priorities are set on family dinner tomorrow.
Can we actually just call this kid Blanket? He's the most pathetic, soft, worthless character still around in the show. He does absolutely nothing for anyone. The most he's done is ignore Koichi and stand by helplessly as someone died at his feet. Just fucking go without him. Why is he critical to your plan's success?
Yeah, everything's covered. As long as Cancer Bob can run 6 miles to the bus stop, get on the bus, get back off the bus, and run 7 more miles to the orphanage, the orphans should be totally safe. Yeah, Cancer Bob. I called him that because he's got cancer. Hilarious, right? Guy's got about a month left to live. He can barely get out of bed. Shit!
Not like it actually matters, though. We immediately cut to the next day where Nameless Girl and her also nameless friend grilled them on what they were doing there.
So, why exactly are the two of you here?
We're looking for a clue to stopping the class's calamity. If Nakao hadn't gone to the beach, he probably wouldn't have died. So for now, keep this a secret. We want to stop the Class 3 calamity, and we're going to do it ourselves if we can. So for now, keep this a secret.
Well, I'm sure we'll get around to it at some point. We better hurry up, though. I got bingo night and tomorrow's club night. I can't miss club night. I gotta crush all over some puss. Priorities, man. Priorities.
Blanket shows up late to the next day, demonstrating how worthless he is by bringing a fucking hand towel to wipe the sweat off of his face. Man, don't work too hard. You might squeeze out a single bead.
The group of colossal fucking idiots nearly kill themselves half a dozen times.
You really are weird, Misaki. Aren't you scared?
Misaki! It's Misaki! Misaki! Fuck off! Anyway, after nearly skewering and crushing themselves all over the place, the crew stumbles ass backwards into the old tape Scragglepuss left behind. Well, guess it's time to discover the miracle of saving lives. Once again, it's about damn time!
Yeah, okay. What's on the damn tape?
Our class went on a trip. We all left on August 8th for 3 days and 2 nights. There's an old shrine in this town called Yomiyama Shrine. On the second day, we climbed the mountain to visit the shrine. At the time, we hoped that maybe this would lift the curse. And after we prayed, our teacher confidently declared, "Everything will be all right now." As we hurried down the mountain, the first victim was a boy named Hamaguchi. Hamaguchi had been struck by lightning. The second victim was taken. A girl named Hoshikawa. In her panic, a cliff. Now this is the important part. How I ended the calamity, and what you must do as well.
No. Everyone's favorite show, Stupid Fucking Idiots, will be right back after these messages.
Sadly, for us that is, before they can fix the tape, the episode ends with Nameless Girl and her family getting killed by a rock that sends them flying off a cliff. Other Nameless Girl's brother dies as he is never seen again. Man, I just care so much because these two characters have brought so much to the table. Oh, wait. No. It's the opposite.
Well, I guess it's time for the climax. Can't wait. Yup.
We begin things this time with a dream Akazawa has about meeting Koichi in the past. She's crying here because her brother just died, a tragedy that might make us sympathize with her more, but the writers never tell us this because of course they don't. Beach time was so much more important.
Elsewhere, the class arrives at the Hinamizawa Shrine, or whatever, they're indistinguishable at this point, and take the most depressing class photo of all time. Despite this, Blanket tries to stay upbeat and happy. Too little too late, asshat. Too little too late.
Finally, and I do mean fucking finally, we find out how Scraggle stopped the curse. And actually, it's very interesting and well executed. Seriously.
I got into an argument with a guy named... We ended up trading blows. And then... The next thing I knew, he wasn't moving. I saw he'd been impaled on a branch. Terrified, I ran back to my room at the lodge. I hardly slept at all that night. I was sure someone would find his body, and everyone would freak. I went back into the forest to find it myself, but it wasn't there. I asked the others what had happened to me, but they all just looked at me like I was crazy. That's when it dawned on me. The guy I'd killed must have been the extra student all along. Send the dead where they belong. Send the dead back to death. And that's how to stop the calamity.
See, this is how you deliver a mysterious and creepy scene. The music works, the flashback works, the dialogue works, and everything works. Why couldn't the rest of the show be just like this? Why is this the only scene of genuinely good fear?
You don't suppose the extra student is here with us at the lodge?
Are we supposed to kill them?
I guess.
Could you kill a classmate?
Well, to answer that very impertinent question, yes, because the extra student is already dead. The actual climactic question that deserves the dramatic music and delivery is,
there's no way to tell the dead from the living.
And they don't know they're dead.
Is there any way to tell at all?
But I guess they thought the moral ambiguity of killing someone who is now alive, even though they already died, which they are not going to discuss, was more important. Wait.
Though it remains unclear whether this trip will lead us toward a resolution, which I hope will help all of us, I sincerely believe that you, Misaki, bear some degree of responsibility for the disasters we've faced. It is my opinion that if Misaki had properly upheld her role as the non-existent student, it's likely no one would have died.
Are you fucking kidding me right now? You made that literally impossible. Here's how this played out. They decided that Mei wasn't going to exist. Then suddenly, someone in the class, Koichi, started talking to her. This would have been confusing for multiple reasons. First off, none of the other students could interact with her in order to clarify that she shouldn't be talking to Koichi. In fact, if you remember, Mei once asked,
Was it okay to do that?
Do what?
They didn't try to stop you.
The only person who could have possibly helped her understand the situation was the guy who also didn't understand what the hell was going on. Why didn't he know that? Oh, yeah, your fault, Akazawa. How was Mei supposed to figure any of this out?
Unshun. Yeah, that sounds good. Reshun.
Yeah, maybe.
We already know from what we have seen in this show that referring to the non-existent person by personal and impersonal pronouns apparently doesn't count as acknowledging them. Otherwise, why would it be okay for them to do it? It was not hard at all for them to indirectly tell Koichi to stop talking to Mei, but Akazawa did nothing and repeatedly shot down several attempts to tell him what was happening. This entire Catch-22 debacle was all her fault. But now, we need to do this.
Apologize. We have yet to hear one word of apology from her, yet Misaki, the moment you were allowed to exist again, you carried on as if nothing happened.
This is completely asinine. What does this accomplish aside from making us hate Akazawa? Why portray her as a vindictive bitch mere minutes after showing us a scene that's meant to make us like her more? I don't get you, Another. I just don't get you.
If she had been completely thorough in avoiding contact with Sakikabara, the countermeasure would have succeeded.
Oh, fuck off. Wait, did she just say Sakikabara?
Sakikabara, 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 Sakikabara.
Again, Sentai! Fix your shit! Anyway, Mei offers the most indignantly hollow apology she can muster, and I applaud her. That's probably not what I should be doing, but hey, shitty writing's gonna shit. Rando Asthma Boy, who we only saw in a 2-second shot back at the beginning of the show, collapses and Senior McOld leaps into action.
An inhaler? Shouldn't he be using this? It's empty? Do you have a spare?
Quick, everyone! We can craft a replacement from Styx and Ovaltine! Where am I?
Dying shortly, heads off with Asthma Kid to crash a car while Mei asks Koichi back to her room to answer the questions we've been asking for 7 fucking episodes.
And what did you mean when you said your eye could see things that should remain unseen? Oh yeah, I remember before you said that your eye could see things that should remain unseen. What did you mean when you said that? Like this one time, she said she had a special eye and she could see things that should remain unseen. It's still don't know what she meant by that. She never told me, and I'm extremely confused.
What did she mean when she said she could see things and remain unseen?
What can it see?
Well, the color of death. It's clearest in dead people, and faint in those with serious illness or injuries.
You mean you can tell when people are about to die?
At some point, I decided to keep this eye covered for the rest of my life. That's why I wanted to see that photo.
She also tells Koichi that her cousin that died was actually her sister by birth, and that, therefore, the curse actually started back in April. Meaning that from the very beginning, the plan of making her non-existent was pointless. Why wouldn't she have mentioned this? There's no way they would have just assumed she was lying. They would have had to take it seriously. You know, you can try to make Akazawa into some emotionally complex character, but I'm still not going to be okay with her unjustifiably lashing out at innocent people. You can make Blanket look innocent and naive, but I'm not going to be okay with him being a useless jackass. And you can make May into a tormented, meek girl bullied by her classmates into literal non-existence, but I'm still not going to be okay with her fucking up this royally and screwing over every one of her fellow students in the process. What the hell, anime? What the actual hell?
What's even worse is the fact that they were just sitting in a group listening to this tape when they asked,
"Is there any way to tell at all?"
There doesn't seem to be.
Mr. Matsunaga's case was pure coincidence.
She said nothing. She literally has the power to bring a stop to this right now with the dead person in their midst, and she did nothing. This is unacceptable. She even says she can tell when someone's about to die. What? Does she just not care? What a fucking cunt.
The extra person is here. It is.
Oh, bull fucking shit!
Not now, Tropy.
I told you there is no escape. Padding out plots is one of my favorite sins.
Why? Why can't you just let me enjoy something that isn't some shining bastion of perfection? Why can't you just let a show be good?
You naive fool. Haven't you figured it out yet? I am a necessary evil. If I wasn't there to whisper in writers' ears and help them tell their stories, how many do you think would actually get told? No story is without sin. Nothing is absent of what you call the evils of cliches and tropes. Not even your precious real life. If you don't have heroes arriving at the last second to save people from annihilation, there's no time for you to spend believing they might die. No opportunity to believe the villains might win. If you don't have unfortunate miscommunications in relationships, you end up with perfect, flawless dream scenarios. And how truly realistic is that? Be honest with yourself, Will. Storytelling cannot exist without me. Am I wrong, Will? Do tell.
You son of a bitch.
Ho ho ho! Is that a cliche I just heard?
Will? Who you talking to?
What? What are you talking about? Tropy, the Infinite, you know, that demon from before? You saw him.
But there's yeah, I saw him, but there's no one here now.
What are you talking about? He's... Yeah. Let's get back to the review.
Takaki! I think I might have fucked up.
You definitely fucked up. You just extended this stupid crap by 2 episodes! Asshole!
Well, at least we know everything now, right? Let's put an end to this.
Not yet. If I'm gonna survive 2 more episodes, I'm gonna need one thing. What the? Apple juice. Apple. Oh, fuck. Oh. 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 Oh.
What the fuck was that? Due to what the show wants us to think is dramatic irony, Akazawa remembers that Misaki was in her class as a young girl and that she didn't have an eye patch, even though Mei lost her eye when she was 4. Obviously, we know immediately that this is because Akazawa was actually in a class with Mei's sister. We immediately know that the 2 girls here now believe they possess conclusive evidence that Mei is the extra student. But why? Misaki is not exactly a rare name, and it could have been another girl. In fact, we already know that it was another girl.
Even if this argument was fair, her having an eye patch means absolutely nothing. It's not like the dead people come back bearing the wounds that killed them. They don't come back of cancer if that's what they died of. Not to mention, the fact that you can remember this at all should clear of all suspicion, since the memories of the dead student are erased. So what? You're leaping to baseless conclusions that having an eye patch now must mean you must be the dead student. How?
Well, we eventually find out that Worthless as all fuck Blanket played the tape for them, enforcing an actual sense of urgency, and so that's why they're hungry for a quick solution. But for now, more stupidity.
Well, I was sure he was the extra. I just knew it. So just now, I'm so sorry. I braced myself and asked him, "You're not really Cosme, are you? You're the extra person in the class, aren't you?" He was acting so suspiciously, I was sure it was him.
You killed him?
You know, it's mind-blowing to me that a kid who barely cared about figuring this out a couple episodes ago completely lost his mind and tried to kill his lifelong best friend. I mean, what? Why? You need to have a reason for things to happen. You can't just randomly slap events into a sequence because, whoa, insanity!
Storytelling! Koichi and the others go to look for the probably not dead Kazumi, but instead find a dying student and the dining room ablaze, with the manager having received something for his troubles. They realize a killer is on the loose and spend numerous minutes trying to find out if anyone else is dead. For the moment, the show has genuine tension and becomes somewhat scary. For a moment.
Miss Mikami?
Okay, so the cook went insane, killed the manager, and is now on a murder spree. Why?
Oh, and look, Takako snapped and is trying to kill Misaki. Why? Well, apparently she also went insane because she saw the kid die at the beach. You know, this has gotta be like the most delayed mental breakdown ever.
Before we can process a single thing that is happening, Takako plays the tape over the PA system declaring how they need to kill Mei. So, what happens next? Panic? More mental breakdowns? freakouts, Tumblr rampages.
Return the dead to death.
Return the dead.
Oh my god, this is so stupid. How do people go from mildly downcast to mindless, bloodthirsty automatons at the flip of a switch? Come the fuck on, anime. I get that you're trying to force the issue here, but you can't just slam a bunch of bullshit together and think we won't notice because you try to blitz through it. No one else has any moral quandary whatsoever with murdering someone? Wasn't that the big question of the scene where they found this out? You can't just poof a mob mentality out of thin air with no actual mob. Fuck off.
Anyway, another rando gets blasted away by the massive backdraft from the dining room fire. Thanks for closing that door, Koichi. You did this. Elsewhere, oh my god, the contrivance.
Back to death! Koichi.
Akazawa.
Takako! Misaki. You.
Wow. Quite the set of convenient coincidences that perfectly aligned there, wouldn't you say? But I've had enough of this shrill, screaming shit. The episode ends.
Okay. You ready?
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, the most unintentionally hilarious ending you've ever seen.
This is not normal.
I cannot think of a better way to end that sequence than with the understatement of the century.
This is not normal.
This is not normal.
This is not normal.
I was just wondering, is this normal?
This is not normal.
No, this is not, in fact, normal.
So how can we possibly follow that up? How can stupidity of that magnitude be one-upped?
Oh! So being dropped on your head completely overwrites your personality and turns you into a psychotic serial killer? This just gets better and better.
Send the dead back to...
And he is dead. One concussion was enough to kill that other kid. Kazumi here just took 2 massive blows to the brain case inside of 1 hour. His gray matter is gonna pop like a water balloon.
This is not normal.
Pretty words. From someone who ran away to watch from the sidelines because he was afraid to die.
This is not normal.
A spectator like you can't do anything. You can't change a thing. The only ones who can fix this are those living in death's jaws.
This is not normal.
No, it is not. Koichi finally finds Mei facing off with Akazawa. The following sequence, clearly directed by Michael Bay, culminates with Izumi remembering that Koichi came to the town a year and a half earlier because someone he knew died shortly before she herself succumbs to plate glass crucifixion. Koichi eventually chases down Mei, leading us to the massive twist we never expected.
It can't be. That's not true. She's the extra. Reiko is the extra.
Koichi. Now the 4th thing you need to know to prepare yourself for Yomi North is, I keep the line between my work and private life completely clear. Be careful not to call me Reiko, even by mistake. At school, I'm the assistant homeroom teacher, Ms. Makami.
Our classroom had the right number of desks this year. And yet, the calamity still began in April, because the place that was short 1 desk was the faculty room.
Cheer up! Why?
I suppose it was about 1.5 years ago.
How's it feel to be back after 1.5 years away from Yomiyama?
1.5 years ago, I hit you with an empty soda can. Do you remember?
Believe me.
No longer pathetic Koichi finally musters up the courage to do what must be done, ending the curse once and for all. However...
Do you want me to tell everyone why this is a problem?
Sure, why not? Go nuts.
Oh, good. Because again, I wasn't giving you a choice.
This twist only exists because the show withheld significant information from us. Much of what we are being told at the end here is brand new and we had no chance of connecting the dots ourselves. It still is a big twist because an extra teacher had never happened before, which would have worked much better if the show never saw reason to deceive us in the first place. Speaking of deception, however, the biggest problem with this twist is that the show straight up cheated to get here.
Remember back when I said that scene of Reiko talking to Koichi at home was extremely important? This is why. That scene took place after the class voted to ignore him. We then see Reiko ignoring him in school to uphold this new class rule. However, when we see Reiko at home, she willfully talks to Koichi as if she has no idea what's going on. What a load of horse shit! How can this possibly count as not acknowledging him?
What? Does the curse only operate during school hours? Is that a new rule we had never been told? Does it honor curfew and not go outside after dark? What the actual fuck? You can't directly misrepresent what's going on to fool us into believing that this can't be the case and hope that we forget later because you play really dramatic music and flashbacks. I don't care how much Reiko likes to keep her personal and work life separate. This is just bullshit. Plain and simple. 0 out of 10. Do not pass go. Do not collect anything.
-5 stars!
I don't know if I'd go that far, but the ending we get after the disaster at the shrine is bizarrely tone deaf. It's almost upbeat, even though Chibiki arrives to literally tell them that 10 people died this year, including 8 students. That's practically half the class, and you saw several of them die right before your eyes, but nope, we did a good thing this day. Let's smile and joke.
But actually, this count isn't even accurate. Let's do the counting for you because this show clearly cannot be bothered to tally its own score. First, there was Sakuragi, with the Shankbrella, if you will. Then there came the boy with the heart condition, and their homeroom teacher. So we're already at 3. We also found out that the teacher lost all desire to live because of his mother, who he was still living with, also died.
After that, Concussion Boy got shredded before Nameless One and her parents were killed on that cliff the same day as her Nameless friend's brother died. That's 5 more. So before we even get to the inn at the shrine, 9 people tied to the curse have already died. Then we find out about May's sister just before one kid gets immolated, the cook murders the manager, and this girl falls off a railing while trying to kill May. Before the final episode begins, we are already at 13. Finally, there's the 4 kids that get crushed by falling shit, Takako, who accidentally hanged herself, the 2 girls Kazumi murders, and, last but not least, Izumi Akazawa for a grand total of 21 deaths. 20 fucking 1.
There were actually 10 victims.
And as the kids hide a new warning for the students of next year instead of, handing it over to responsible adults in charge who could probably make level-headed, reasonable decisions since they're not directly connected to the calamity, the series comes to a close.
Well, this anime is
No. Don't you dare.
Oh, come on, man. I just want to say it once.
Okay, fine. But I'm not done talking yet.
patience, all right?
All right. Okay.
Despite
this anime is terrible.
Oh, for the love!
Sorry, had to do it.
Another is a series that fails on almost every level. It's a messy plot that is stretched and dragged out to the point of obscenity, and the dramatic score desperately tries to create an atmosphere, but it becomes overbearing by the end as it misfires way too much on scenes that didn't need it. The characters are all too problematic to actually root for, because when your characters are kids, they need to be kids that can actually be competent at what they are doing, as any other character of any other age should be. Unfortunately, none of the show's cast is, and it leads to a death toll that is so absurd they had to cover it up. Overall, it's just boring and, on occasion, even hilarious.
The most troubling thing, for me at least, is that this story at the base of the series is awesome. I love everything about the concept itself. All the problems we've discussed here stem purely from how poorly it's told. Remember, we spent 5 of 12 episodes trying to figure out if May was a ghost or not, while virtually nothing else happened. The argument could be made that nearly half of this series had no plot, and that really shouldn't be possible. On top of that, you can't create effective tension by killing characters that are underdeveloped at best and completely random at worst. And when your main characters spend the majority of the fleeting time they have to prevent everyone from dying either doing nothing or taking it so lightly, I don't feel like there's tension. There flat out can't be when the catalyst for the show's only ticking clock, May's ability to see the dead, isn't revealed until the final act. Lastly, with an ending that's more silly than it is shocking, and a final scene that almost feels like it's from a completely different show, it all adds up to what can best be described as a mess, with a single pearl buried way too deep for anyone to bother digging it up.
With all that said, however, I need to tell you guys that when I watched this show for the very first time, I noticed almost none of these flaws. The base concept of the story was so strong that it pulled me right past them as if they never were. So, despite how badly we've ripped this thing asunder, you may actually want to give it a shot for yourself and see if you can enjoy it and look past all these flaws. I mean, you won't know until you try, right? Well, anyway, this has been the Animerican Horror Story. I'm Will Ryan.
Hey, don't shut me out. First off, if you would like to get more horrific content for your viewing pleasure, come to my channel for some Let's Not Meet horror story readings or some chilling top lists like this new one I recently did called the Top 9 Disturbing Moments in Kids Films. It's been fun.
Yes. Thank you. As I was saying, I'm Will Ryan, and we'll be back real soon as Cover by Cover returns to look at 26 of the most classic anime of all time. See you then.